Okay, so this is advanced agent sites. So hopefully when you're tuning into this class, either live with us today, or if you're watching this video, you've already set up your agent site. I'm going to leave some links in the chat here, and any links that I leave in our Zoom chat, I'll also leave in the YouTube description as well. So if you're watching this later, you'll be able to have them. So let's go ahead and get started. So I am started on this page here, agent.kw.com. This is how you access command. I think about this as the agent access to KW, which is why it's agent.kw.com. So today we're going to touch on some really cool kind of extra stuff you can do to your command website, to your Keller Williams agent website. So assuming that you already have kind of the basic stuff set up, we're going to take it a few steps beyond that and show you some other really cool things that you can add. One of the things that I usually do in my regular agent sites class is I'll show some websites of some agents that I know that have really cool sites, and they have all these extra tabs and stuff that they've added. So we're going to actually explore how we could do that ourselves today. So if we have time, my goal is to cover how to add a mortgage calculator to your command site, how to add both of your Homekeeper widgets, and a school search tab. And then if we have time, we'll do some other stuff like testimonials, etc. If you don't have Homekeeper, go ahead and take a second right now, email support@ScottLeroy Marketing and ask them to set you up with a Homekeeper login. They're pretty fast at doing that. So if you take a minute now to do that, you should actually already have a login for that, maybe by the time we get to that point in the class. So something to keep in mind. But if not, feel free to just follow along with me, and then you can always set up your Homekeeper stuff later. But it's a great resource, and I'll show you why once we get there. But first, we're going to do what we always start our command classes with, and that is going into our marketing profile. So here I am on the main homepage. Once you log into command, this is where it shoots you. Once you are in here, click your name at the top right-hand corner and go to settings. From there, we're going to connect settings and then marketing profile. So since this is an advanced class, I'm going to assume that you already have your marketing profile set up, but I do just want to remind you that this is kind of where everything starts. Unless you've got this toggled right here to use your information to brand your agent site, you're definitely going to run into some problems. Also, if you do end up changing anything, like your name changes, your email changes, anything like that, this is where you can come in and make those changes. So this will actually automatically push all those changes to your site and your other things that you make and design, your other marketing materials, etc. And then another thing I wanted to point out that's really important specifically for agent sites is that your team name is actually going to be what your menu bar displays at the top of your agent site. So I'll show you what that looks like if I go to my agent site, which is karakrog.kw.com. So you'll see here, my menu bar actually has my name. So if you're on a team, you might, obviously it suggests your team name, so you might put a team name here. If you leave it blank because you're not on a team, this will actually say, I think your agent is what it'll say, which is a great option too. But if you put your name as your team, then your name will pop up at the top. So keep that in mind as you're making those choices. And so assuming you have everything here filled out, you're just going to want to click save at the bottom of this page, and then we will get started. All right. Hey, Sierra.
Hey, sorry about being a little late. I was on a Zoom, so I'm here now.
So you didn't miss anything, just the regular marketing profile stuff. But now we're going to get started. And I think we had someone else join us a little bit late as well, maybe. I don't know. Or wait. Yes, Kendall. Welcome, Kendall. And just so you guys know that it popped on late, what we're going to cover today is adding a mortgage calculator, 2 Homekeeper widgets, a school search, and then maybe some other testimonials and stuff like that if we have time to your agent website. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that mortgage calculator. So anytime you're going to do anything with your agent site, you're going to go over here in this left-hand corner, and you're going to go to consumer right here. And these aren't actually popping. Oh, there it goes. So it should, or no, sites is what it says now. Sites consumer, one of the two. If you click this red KW button at the top of the page, that will actually expand this whole menu in case you're having trouble remembering which icon is which. But we're going to go to consumer, and then we're going to create a new site. So every site that we're going to create today is going to be on my agent site. We do teach a landing pages class as well, and that's when we're going to do
Hi, Kelly. This is Tim Fole from Keller Williams.
Okay, I'm going to mute you, Tim. We're going to only do.
If you need to give me options to help with that, you can.
Oh yeah, sure. I can make you the host. Make host. There you go. Okay, so in our landing pages class, we cover those standalone pages, but today we are only going to be doing on my agent site pages. So let's create a page. Now I will put the URL for this in the chat, but so the first thing we're going to be doing is this mortgage calculator. If I can just get to this bar. There we go. And then I will put this in our chat. And I will also add this to our YouTube description as well. So if you're tuning into this video later and you want that, it should just look down at the description and it'll be there. So this is a free mortgage calculator. It's not affiliated with any specific mortgage company, so it's not branded to them, which is great. You can encourage your clients to use this and also whatever lender they want to work with. So one of the things that you'll find as you are doing these custom kind of, I call it light coding on your agent sites page, is that you will need to always include one of the Keller Williams widgets on the page. So in this particular one, I'm just going to do something kind of small. I'll do the download my app widget because I feel like that's, it's kind of small. It doesn't take a lot of space. We'll use some other ones of these also for other light coding that we're going to be doing. So just play around with this. And if you want a mortgage calculator, but you don't really like having this download the KW app thing at the bottom of the page, then try using it in your company profile or try using it in an agent profile. And I'll show you how you can do that later too. So we want to make sure we title our page, kind of skipped that part. So this is going to be mortgage calculator. And because I've made multiple mortgage calculator pages, I'm just going to title this one 924. Your clients aren't going to see what you title the page. So as you're practicing and you want to redo something, you can title it whatever you'd like. They're not going to see that. And then I want to make sure that this download the KW app shows up at the bottom of the page. Oh, and let me also point out too with these widgets, contact form used to be what I would always say. You should put that at the bottom of every page you create because you always want to make it really easy for your clients to contact you. Well, I think Keller Williams Realty International, they must have been listening to my tech calls because now on every single page at the bottom of your agent site, you already have a contact form. So I actually wouldn't use the contact form anymore because now that'll actually show up as double contact forms and that's just silly. So that's why I have the download my app. Now I'm gonna go to our content blocks and I'm gonna drag this text content block up to the top of the page. If you see this green bar here at the top of the page, that's where that's going to drop. I definitely want to make sure that's above the download my KW app, not below my download the KW app, because then you're going to see the download thing first and the mortgage calculator is going to be later on the page and that won't make as much sense. So I've got that here. I will go to that page that I dropped in the chat and I will copy this code. So I want to make sure I copy the whole thing. So I'm going to click this copy to clipboard button. And then I'm going to go back over here. I want to make sure I highlight this whole text because if I don't do that and I just paste my my JavaScript over here into this, then you're going to also see the words insert your text here and you don't want that. So I'm going to highlight that and then paste this here. This is basically just that light coding that I was telling you about. I wouldn't really mess with it much. If you really want to do some experimenting, you can try changing some fonts and all that kind of stuff or font sizes and order sizes and stuff, but if you're just interested in light coding like we're covering today, all you need to do is copy and paste. There's really nothing more you need. So now if you want to see what that looks like, you can actually just double click this. What happened to that? And don't know what happened to that. So let's do this. Let's throw this away. Let's get a new text box. Let's highlight this whole thing, paste it, and try this again. There's that mortgage calculator. So I just double clicked, highlighted the text basically that I added, double clicked it, and it showed me what this is gonna look like. There's also a second piece down here, so I'm gonna click that, and then I can actually just delete this down here. Perfect. And I could probably just delete this too, because I deleted part of it already. And this is kind of what I'm talking about, where you can just play around and see kind of little changes that you might want to make to this. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to configure widgets and done. And save changes. And yes. Now what we're going to do, every time that you create a page for your site, you'll see it pops up on the list of your site pages. It's going to have a gray eyeball next to it. That means it's not live on your site. I will show you later how to make that live, but in order to kind of help with the flow of the class, we're going to create these pages first, and then we're going to make them all live at the end. So I'll show you how to do that later, but just keep in mind it's not live right now because the eyeball is gray. Once it turns blue like this, you'll actually be able to click it and view it, and it will be live on your page. So that is your mortgage calculator. Your next one we're going to do is your Homekeeper widgets. So I'm going to create a new site on my agent site, of course. And this one is actually going to be your real estate blog. So I'm going to call this Real Estate Blog 924. Okay, now for this one, I'm going to use a different widget because I want to show you guys how you can use these different widgets in different ways and customize them all. So for this one, we're going to do company profile. And then we're going to configure those widgets. And the only widget we have is the company profile. So here for your title, I am going to put my real estate blog. You might want to put Kara's real estate blog or my blog or anything like that, but just an idea of what you can put here. You can also leave this header the way it is. I feel like it's kind of a general house picture, so that works out really well. Or if you want to add another picture, one of the sites I really like for that is unsplash.com. You can get a bunch of free images here. So if I wanted to look for Seattle, for example, I've got all these pictures of Seattle that I can use for free. Or maybe since it's a blog, I want to do blog instead. I can download one of these pictures of someone on their computer, and then I can actually use that as the background image here. But just keep in mind, it is a long, skinny background. So whatever image you pick, you want to make sure that it's something that's going to fit nicely into that skinny shape. But I'm going to leave this picture here for now. If I wanted to take it out, I would just throw it away, put it in, click this trash button, and then upload something new. So I am going to actually put our coding in the intro text. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete that, make some room for it. For this section heading, I'm going to delete that. I don't need it. Now for this section 1 text, you'll see there is a red asterisk next to this header. That does mean that text is required there. I'm just going to kind of do a workaround on that, and I'm going to put a space, and that's all it really needs. I also need to make sure these gray boxes are deleted. So I'm going to throw that away. So same thing that I could have done up here if I wanted to throw this away. Just click that trash can, delete this heading, delete this text, throw this image away. Same thing with the footer text, throw that away. Okay, so now this is basically just a blank page. and even click save and apply. You can kind of see what that looks like. Just a blank page, and I'm going to add that coding into our intro text. So now hopefully you have access to Homekeeper. If you don't have access to Homekeeper, again, email support@scottleroymarketing.com. That's support@scottleroymarketing.com. Just tell them you'd like to be set up with a Homekeeper account. It is free for Keller Williams agents, so it's a great resource to dive into. What we're going to be using today is this shareable blog content. So just so you can kind of see what this looks like. When someone clicks one of your blog posts, it's actually going to be branded to you. It's going to have your headshot. It's going to have your name. Your name is also kind of placed here, so it looks like you're the author of this blog, although you don't have to do anything. Also, another great thing about adding it to your agent sites page is that it keeps updating itself. So this article was actually just released today, September 24th, and it will already show on my agent site where I've set up my blog to post before. So you don't have to manage it. You don't have to write anything. It writes all the posts itself, and then it actually shares it to your site on your behalf too. So there's no upkeep, which is really great. So I'm going to, once I get back to that page, and I don't know if I said this before, but this is just homekeeper.com. It's kind of spelled a little weird. It's HOMEKEEPR.com. So no E in the ER. All right, and then I'm going to sign in. There we go. So now once I'm on this main page, I'm going to scroll down here where it says My Widgets. So I'm going to click that box. And then it's got two different widgets for me, my Trusted Pros widget and my blog widget. I'm going to start with blog widget, but we are going to go back to Trusted Pros. So your agent site does not do JavaScript at this time, but it does operate with iframe. So I'm going to actually copy this iframe code and then go back to my agent site. And then for that intro text, I'm going to paste that code. That's all I need to do. And then scroll down to the bottom and hit save and apply.
Kara, could you show that again? Because it was blocked by the little strip of people. If you don't mind, just where did you insert that link?
Yeah, so I did it under intro text. And then for the section 1 heading and text, section 1 text, I did a space because it is required to put something there, so just a space. And then I deleted everything else from down here. I deleted all the headings, I deleted all the section texts, and I deleted the images that were here as well. So that's basically just going to take all of those away and leave only my blog.
Got it.
So I'm going to save those changes.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so now we've already done our mortgage calculator. We've already done our real estate blog. Now let's do another Homekeeper app for a vendor search. So I'm going to create a new site, and I'll show you guys, you already saw the preview of what those look like, so you can get a pretty good idea. But we'll go over, once we finish adding all these pages and we make them live, we'll go over what they actually look like on your live page. So in the next one, for my vendor search, I'm gonna, of course, do on my agent site, create a page. This one I'm going to call vendor search. And then again, because I make these pages all the time, I'm gonna date it. This time I'm gonna use the agent profile widget. I actually really like this widget, and I'm thinking about going back and changing some of the other things I've done to try to see if I can continue using this one. I just like the formatting of it a lot. So here is what this looks like if you don't edit it at all. All of this information should automatically be filled out to you because your marketing profile is hopefully at 100% at this point. But I don't want it to be all about me. I want it to be a little bit about me, but also about the vendors that I trust. So I'm going to configure this widget, my agent profile. Now for this one, I do think having my headshot here would be kind of weird since it's a vendor search. So I'm gonna go back to using that Unsplash website, and I am gonna just search for handshake. To me, this kind of says trusted vendor. There's all these handshake options here. I actually kind of like, where is it? This one, because I like the yellow background. So I'm just going to click that download button, and it's going to download automatically to my computer. So now I'm going to go back to my agent site, and I'm going to delete my headshot, and then I'm going to actually just see if I can drag and drop it actually. Drag and drop it right there. Bam. Easy peasy. Now for page title, obviously my name doesn't make a lot of sense for that either. So I'm going to say my trusted vendor partners. Okay, good. You can only do 30 characters, so I wasn't sure if that was going to fit, but it fit perfectly. So my trusted vendor partners. You could obviously change the wording for that however you'd like. And then I would just say like trusted real estate vendors. All right, and now for my bio title, I am going to, actually, let's change this to vendor search. I'm trying to remember what's what on this thing. Real estate vendors, and I'd say search for vendors. Okay, and now for agent bio, that is actually where I'm going to put my coding. So I'm going to delete my bio from here. I'm going to go ahead and leave my contact information here at the bottom. I think that's pretty helpful. There's no reason that I would need to change that. And now I'm going to go back to my Homekeeper page and go back to this Trusted Pros widget, which is where I started when I clicked the widget button. And again, we can't use JavaScript at this time on our KW sites. We can use iframe. So I'm going to copy this code, and then I'm going to paste it in my agent bio. Now I want to see what that looks like, so I'm going to click Save and Apply. Just note, I'm clicking the Save and Apply button here at the bottom of the page. If I click Save Changes at the top, it's going to take me out of this page, and it's going to be, there's kind of a workaround to edit it beyond that. But I'll show you at the end of class how you can edit pages that you've clicked out of. So here's what that vendor search page looks like. I can actually change this to my trusted real estate vendors. And you can kind of play around with the wording on this too. And I think also another great opportunity for this is, so you can add all your vendors that you want to add into Homekeeper. They do have some by default that are provided by your local realtor association, and also some that are national vendors that Homekeeper will provide for you if you'd like to include them. But this could be a great way to just reach out to people that you work with, or that you would maybe see yourself working with at some point, and giving them a call and saying, you know, hey, my name's Kara Krogh. I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams. I'm creating a vendor search on my website where I'm linking the information to local vendors that help with a variety of things. And I'd love to have you as my landscaper for my site. Would you be interested in partnering with me? And if I'm adding you to my site, will you just keep in mind that I'm a real estate agent in the area, and just send me any referrals that you have as well. And, you know, try to get mutual connections out of this too. But if you don't have any of those connections and you're not wanting to make those calls, you can also just lean on the ones provided by Homekeeper and by the Realtor Association. But I strongly recommend including more people that you actually know and have called. I think that's a great way to take this a little step further and actually get some business out of it. So I'm going to save those changes. That's my vendor search. And see. All right. So now we've got our mortgage calculator, our real estate blog, our vendor search. Now we're going to do a school search. So I'm going to create a new site on my agent site, create. So I know this is called an advanced agent sites class, but this is actually pretty straightforward, don't you think? Like, we're finding this coding already out there, already existing on the internet, and we're just copying it and pasting it onto our site. Not so scary. All right, so for this one, we're gonna call it a school search. And today is 9/24. And I'm gonna do the company profile again for this one. So now I'm gonna configure those widgets. And this is gonna look really similar to what we did with the blog. So for the headline, I'm gonna put search for schools. I am going to also change this. Well, I don't know. I was thinking something that could be good if you go to Unsplash is maybe search for like schools or school bus. This one seems kind of cool. All right, I'll just download that. Click of a button, then go back to my agent site and trash this header image, and I'll just drag and drop this one I just downloaded. And I might want to shorten it a bit because it is a long image, so that's kind of how I do that, just dragging and dropping this. And for my intro text, I'm gonna delete all this stuff. I want to make sure I have room again for my coding. For my section 1 header, gonna delete that. For the section 1 text, I'm gonna put a space because again, it's got that red asterisk, so something is required. If it's not letting you save changes, so you see this kind of button at the top, it means something isn't set. So that could be the problem, is that maybe you deleted everything from the section 1 text and you didn't put a space. I'm gonna delete this gray image, delete the header, delete section 2 text, delete this image, delete, delete, delete. All right, now for my coding for my school search, I'm going to go to greatschools.org/widget. So again, I'll put that in the chat. And then once I'm in here, you can customize this a little bit. So I do want to make sure that, you can search for whatever area you'd want to search once you get to this page on my website. But I live in Seattle. My clients probably live in Seattle. I am going to go ahead and put Seattle in here, or maybe I'll just put 98133, which is our office zip code. I can also change the size of my widget too. I've seen people do like 500 and 500 or 500 and 1,000 or something, but I'm gonna leave it the way that it is. I think that's fine. For my email address, I'll put my email, and then for my website URL, that's karakrogh.kw.com. They just want to know where's the website where you're going to be putting this widget. And then you agree to the terms, and then you get the code. So now you've got this. We're going to select it all and then copy. Unfortunately, this one doesn't give you like a green check mark that says that you copied it all. So hopefully you did. And then I'm going to go back to my site, and I'm going to paste that into my intro text. And a little pro tip too, you can also see where there's this like gray lines right here in the corner. If you're typing on anything with the coding, you probably don't need to look at the whole text, and you can actually scroll within this box. But just so you know, you can also make this box larger too. So if you're typing something and you want to see more of it, that's one option that you have. Now I'm going to save and apply. Look at that school bus. All right, and where's my school search? I must still be thinking, there it is. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and save those changes. All right. Now, as far as the coding stuff goes, that basically covers all the coding that I wanted to show you guys today. But let me also just take you back to that blank agent sites page, and let's touch on these other widgets that are here as well. In our regular agent sites class, we definitely don't cover every single one of these. I think that they're pretty self-explanatory, so I don't think that we need to stay on them for too long while we're in this advanced class. However, I did want to point out a couple things. So for your testimonials, you actually have the option to do a carousel or a testimonials list. I wanted to just say, if you end up doing a carousel, you can only do up to 4 reviews on the carousel, which is like a kind of a circulating slideshow of your reviews. You can only have up to 4. If you end up doing the testimonial list, you can do up to 10. So if you have more than 4, I would say do the list, and that way you can get more of your reviews on your site. Now let's go ahead, if we have time, we'll go back to that, but let's go ahead and show you guys how to make these pages live. So we're back in that same section, the consumer site right here. We're under agent site pages. And then site and app. So this is, you can see those pages that are gray, and then site and app settings. Nice. And Tim says that he already has his Homekeeper set up before we were done with class. So yeah, Scott Leroy Marketing is super fast at responding. I love working with them for that reason. All right, so now we are in your agent site pages. We're going to see general, URLs, featured listings, theme, and site pages. Let's go to site pages. Now here are all the site pages that I have on my account. I'm going to temporarily add some more so you guys can see what we've made today. So I'm going to go to add page. And first, let's do that mortgage calculator, since that's the first one that we made. So good thing I titled my pages. If I didn't, I would be having to guess based on the date which one is which. So that's really important to remember. Always title your page. Tim, you look like you didn't title your page. All right, and then we're going to continue.
It was my first one, so it's okay. There was only one there.
So now for this title, keep in mind, so before when we titled our page, that was just a title for us. That was the way that I could tell what is what while I'm adding it to my site. Now for this page title, this is actually going to be outward facing, so your clients are going to see this. So keep that in mind. So for this one, I'm going to call it mortgage calculator. And then for your URL slug, this is basically how you could send a link to your clients that'll take them straight to this page on your site. So for me, that would be, I don't know what I did before for this, so I'll just do calc. So for me, that would be karakrog.kw.com/mortgage-calc. You can't put spaces in here, but if you put a dash, that actually reads the same as a space in terms of like internet searches and stuff like that. So something to keep in mind. And then for your SEO description, I'll just show you kind of what that looks like in case you're unfamiliar. Pretty much everyone has Googled things before. So if I search for Seattle real estate, do you see how the things that pop up, that's your title right here, and then this is the description. So keep that in mind. The blue is your title. This is your SEO description. So before, in the old school days of search engines, for your SEO, you might put like real estate calculator, mortgage calculator, Keller Williams agent, like all these different keywords. That's not really how it works anymore. Now, Google actually combs through these sites to find those specific keywords, and really what you're putting here is something that's going to be consumer facing, but a description. If someone comes across your site on Google, what is this page about? So for here, I'm going to say, you know, I might still start out with my contact information, and say Kara, Krog, Keller, Williams, and then mortgage calculator. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to save those changes. All right, so now we're going to add our other page. So we've got, that's the mortgage calculator. Now we've got our real estate blog. So that for this one, I'm going to call it My Real Estate Blog. And then for this SEO, I think I might just put blog, but I feel like I might have done that before on a different real estate blog page. So I'm just going to say RE blog. But if this is your first time adding a blog to your page, then blog might be best because it's just a short slug. And I think the shorter the better. You want it to make sense, not just a few gibberish letters, but a short slug makes a lot more sense. And then for my SEO description, I'm going to, again, put my name and then say real estate blog. And then we're going to save that. And you would do the same thing for your vendor search and if you added testimonials, etc. So we don't need to keep doing this over and over again. So I'm going to go ahead and take you back to where you can see all my pages, and then we'll actually look at what those ended up looking like. So I'm going to go to agent site pages here at the top. And then here where it says see your configured agent site, of course I could just type karakrog.kw.com, but I can also just click this button and this will take me to my agent site. So let's look at some of those pages that we worked on today. So I've got my mortgage calculator. Looks really good, and this is live on my website, you guys. This is the one that we just now made. And see where it's got that download my app. And this is why I didn't say put that contact form, because the contact form is already here. All right, so then let's go to our real estate blog. And here's my blog that I don't have to work on at all. And so if I scroll here, it does look like there's only one posting. I don't love the formatting on that. I think it changes based on your screen. I've got a wider screen on my desktop computer, and so I see more that pop up at once, but maybe that would be a good reason why I'd want to play around with which widget I pair with this. But as long as you're hovering over this first blog, you can actually scroll through and look at all of them. And these are all my blogs, my blog posts that I worked so hard on, not. And so those are the two that we set up today. I'll show you what the other ones look like that I didn't automatically link. But so the school search here, this is what that looks like on my site. Got my contact information here at the bottom of the page. A great way for people to search on a map or through a list or by typing. And of course, because I put my zip code or my city in here, that's what's going to automatically populate on the map. So let's say you move to Keller Williams, San Antonio, and you work from that office instead, and you're starting to sell real estate in a different market, or from Seattle to Everett, or whatever the case may be. Just you can go back in and you can change that coding. So then let's also show you our vendor search. There it is. So you can see what that looks like on the page. Oh, see, I didn't edit this. So actually, this is a great place to show you how to do this. So now I've gotten to my page, I'm looking at what it looks like live, and I realize, wait a minute, that is not right. That's not what that's supposed to say. How can I change this? So I'm gonna go ahead and close out of my site. I'm going to actually, so you'll see here where it shows you all of my pages. Intuitively, the way that I would want to change or edit these sites is by maybe clicking one of these 3 buttons on the right-hand side. Perhaps Keller Williams Realty International will listen to these calls some more and they will add that as an option to edit. But as of right now, that's not an option. And I think the option is a little less intuitive. So I'm going to actually show you where that is. You'll have to go to Designs. And then once you're in Designs, you'll go to, I've done a lot of agent site pages recently, so they show up on the top, but if they didn't show up on the top for you, you can click agent sites over here at the top screen. And now you can see all of these pages that I've made recently. So I wanted to change, what page was I on? School search, vendor search? I can't remember now. I think it was vendor search, right? Okay, so I'm gonna find my vendor search page. Where is it? And this again is why it's very important to make sure you are titling your pages. Vendor search 924, school search, Homekeeper blog, mortgage calculator, mortgage calculator, mortgage calculator. I don't see it on here. I wonder if it's this one. Anyway, once you get to it, you'll just click it. I think it is. I think that was the right one. Okay. Yeah, so this page I obviously did not title. That was my bad. So I'm going to say trusted vendor search. And then, so I can see here where it says that lead listing agent. Whoops, what did I just do? That was a new one. Did I take that away? Where did it go? Oh, it went up here. Awesome. Okay, so this can be a bit of a tricky thing. I have done this only a couple times before where I have dragged something from inside of a widget to outside of the widget, and I'm not really sure how you change that. So I'm gonna try to go back, not save my changes, and then just go into it again. The good thing is that it's really quick and easy to A, set these sites up, and B, make changes to them. So I'm not going to get hung up if I have to start over because I know those widgets are there for me and it doesn't take very long to do this. Although this is still up here at the top. That's not what you want. Okay, well, like I said, when things aren't going your way, you can always restart. Okay, so let's go to the one that I was making earlier. And that would be this one right here. So the one that I was just trying to work on before, that is for one that I made prior to today. This is the one that I made for today. I actually think this one already looks good, but now you can see how if I wanted to change that, I could just find it in designs. I would go to configure widgets, make sure you don't drag and drop things outside of your widget because that gets confusing. And then, so where it says my trusted real estate vendors, this is where on the other one, I hadn't changed it. So it said something about Royal Realtors team. That's just kind of the default team for the Keller Williams tech stuff. So I would go in here and I would change it to whatever I'd want to change it to. My trusted real estate vendors. I'll change this to Kara's trusted real estate vendors and then save and apply. So that way you guys can see that that does actually change things. Ta-da! And then save changes. Another thing I want to cover too, so now that I've updated this, I want to make sure that this is the page that shows up on my page. So I'm going to go back to site and app settings. I'm going to go back to site pages. And then here where it says vendor search, this is actually the one that I kind of messed up. So I'm just gonna click these 3 buttons and then delete it. Bye-bye vendor search page. And delete. Why aren't you deleting? There it goes. Okay, so now I'm gonna add the new one. I'm gonna do vendor search 924. Call this vendor search. I'm going to call this vendors, and then okay. I like adding Keller Williams to things because obviously Keller Williams has tens of thousands of agents all over the world, and so you get a little bit of credibility anytime you put their name with your stuff. So I'm gonna save those changes. Now, another thing I wanted to point out too, I realized I kind of skipped it earlier, is that you don't have to keep these things in the order to which you add them. You can actually drag and change them. So I'm gonna drag vendor search up to right under real estate blog. So it'll start with why Keller Williams, about me, my real estate blog, my vendor search, school search, mortgage calculator, download my app, leave a review, contact me, and then these are the extra pieces that I added earlier to show you guys as an example. So I'll delete those. Does anyone have any questions? I know I went a little bit fast, but we will post this on our Facebook groups. So you definitely have the option to rewatch this and kind of pause me whenever you need a moment to catch up. So feel free to use that as an option. And that's basically everything I wanted to cover today. I have another call that starts right at 11. So I think we're gonna just end early unless anyone has any questions.
Oh, well done. Well done. I thought it was great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We love doing Tech Thursdays, and you know, we'll do another one next week. Sierra, do you remember what we're covering next week? It's a surprise. So yeah, we'll surprise you with something fun, and hopefully you'll tune in. Thanks, you guys.
Yes. Thank you all for coming.